open your Sutra books. The Kei Hui edition, Volume 1, page 167. If your desire for hunting is pardoned, it will lead to madness and a loss of precious life. This is a passage from the ancient and sacred Sutra. I still remember the very first time I read this sutra, which was many years ago, during a period of my life when I was searching for deeper meaning and understanding. The words resonated with me so strongly that they left a profound and lasting impression, one that has stayed with me ever since. Caught hunting is hunting. Xu Qing, acting on impulse or willfulness. Killing all living beings everywhere. Same. The scope it covers is extremely broad in scope and application, no matter what methods are used, and there are indeed many different methods, to be honest. The goal is always to hunt wild animals. When it comes to hunting, in particular, nets are often used. In ancient times, they used bows and arrows, but now it's guns and cannons. Still, the number of living beings killed is, in most cases, somewhat limited. But when we go fishing, most fishermen, as their main method of catching fish, use nets. Even with nets, each catch is still somewhat limited. But what we used to do was much worse. We used yellow explosives to blast fish. When the explosives went off, thousands of fish were harmed. They weren't just killed by the blast, but stunned to death by the shock. In the past, I used to go hunting with my father for 3 years. I remember I was 16, 17, and 18, did it for 3 years. Reading this passage, I think of my father. That's morality. He passed away 45, dying in a state of panic and fear. I saw this with my own eyes. That's the retribution in this life. How did his illness manifest? Madness. He was so thin he was just skin and bones, but his strength was so great that even several people couldn't hold him back. When he saw water, he'd try to dive right in. When he saw a mountain, he'd run straight up it. It was exactly the kind of retribution you'd expect from a life of hunting. After reading this scripture, I made up my mind to become vegetarian, realizing just how heavy the karma of killing is. I've experienced it myself, so it really, truly hits home. Then, looking at what's said in Buddhism, that all sentient beings have been caught in the cycle of cause and effect since time without beginning, the scriptures say the thread of cause never, ever truly breaks, not even for a moment. Lifetime after lifetime, we were repaying each other, and it just goes on and on. Even if the bad karma was created out of ignorance, you can't say there's no consequence just because you didn't know. Ignorance still brings its own results. But what if you've studied Buddhism? If you understand these principles and still go ahead and do it, you're committing a double offense. On top of that, you're also breaking a precept. The basic precepts are the 5 precepts, and not killing is one of them. So breaking the precept against killing adds another offense. If you haven't studied Buddhism or heard the Dharma, killing is still an inherent offense. Whether you've taken the precepts or not, it's still wrong. So we realize that the consequences are so serious that it's something we absolutely must not do. But if you study Buddhism and understand this principle, you should always confess and make a constant vow. Throughout my life, when it comes to doing good deeds and cultivating blessings, I generally only do 3 things. Releasing animals and helping those who are sick and suffering, such as the injured or ill, as I don't have much personal good fortune myself. All my financial resources are very limited, so what little I have to offer, what do I do with it? I release animals. I donate it to hospitals to help cover medical expenses for the poor. The 3rd thing is printing and distributing Buddhist scriptures. I have other things to do. I personally don't advocate building temples. So, as a result, I have the karma of not having a place of my own to stay. I've spent my life living in other people's temples, which is quite good. The real reason is that my blessings are too small. I've only done small good deeds. To build a temple, you need great blessings, and I just don't have that much good fortune. Before I started learning Buddhism, I committed some pretty serious offenses. Back in my student days, when I left Foshan, I've told you all about it before. I committed some sending me to Avicii hell. Hunting, for example, brings the gravest retribution. Back then, people said I'd have a short life. Even the ancestors and the Buddhas said I'd have a short life and no blessings. I'm quite clever, have a bit of wisdom, but what a pity. No blessings, short life. He told me, and I admitted it. I believed that because of the bad karma I'd created in the past, I deserved this retribution. That's just fate, isn't it? What else can you say? So I didn't want to hear it, couldn't bear it. But the ancestors and the Buddha told me. They said, these past years you've been teaching and spreading the Dharma, and that's a tremendous merit. They said, not only do you have blessings now, but you'll also live a long life. After my ancestor told me these things, he passed away the following year. He was an old friend from long ago, an old Dharma companion. If one intends to disobey his parents, he will be punished by death. This kind of thing is being unfilial to your parents. Not only is it not being filial, it's actually rebelling against your parents. It's hurting your parents through your actions. In ancient times, there were few. Now more. When I was studying in Taichung, Teacher Li told us a story. It was true. It happened during the Qing dynasty. When he talked about it, that era was already long gone. He mentioned the name of the place at the time, but I can't remember it now. The day before yesterday, there was a tragic case, an incident where a son actually killed his own father. That's truly rebelling against your parents. At that time, during the Qing dynasty, an order was issued. The local magistrate, the county head, was dismissed from his post. He was going to jail, sentenced to prison. Why was that? Because the local official hadn't properly educated the people. He hadn't fulfilled his responsibility. So, the local leader was dismissed and investigated. The chief assistant, like a provincial governor, got a demerit. That's a serious punishment. You local officials are called the apparent officials, so how could you let someone like this be raised? Even with such punishments, it still wasn't enough. Every city had walls and a corner was chipped off as punishment. It means that your place has produced such a despicable person. This is your entire city eating milk and your city wall piercing a piece of meat. So back then, under the absolute monarchy, the emperor really took responsibility. People weren't shirking their duties. When he appointed local officials, like provincial or city governors, they had to take responsibility for him, to maintain good customs, to educate people, and to do things properly. News is often reported in newspapers. Who is responsible? No one takes responsibility. Democracy, all boss. But when everyone's in charge, no one takes responsibility. Everyone passes the buck. How can society be any good like that? So once, Venerable Yinpei was having a chat here and he asked me, Venerable Jinkong, do you actually support monarchy or democracy? I said I support monarchy. He joked, you're old-fashioned. I said, I'm not. If you really compare monarchy and democracy closely, monarchy has so many more advantages, far better than democracy. A monarch takes responsibility, but in a democracy, no one does. I said, this isn't just empty talk. The facts are right in front of us. A monarch wants his rule to continue for generations, so he has to do a good job. He needs a successor, the crown prince, and he gets the very best teachers in the country to guide and nurture him, so he receives the best education, learns to love the country and its people, and understands how to work for the welfare of the people. Only then can his rule continue and his family line be passed on. If he doesn't do a good job, someone else will take his power away. That's why he goes about it with great caution and care. In a democracy, once you're elected, after a few years you hand it over to someone else. You're not going to think that far ahead, are you? In the monarchical era, he thought about the long-term plan. If he could think about 100 years, he would think about this 100 years. If he could think about 200 years, he would think about 200 years. You can't just think a few years ahead. If you only think a few years ahead, won't your regime collapse? So we need to observe the facts very, very objectively indeed. Overthrew autocracy and established a republic. His ideas and vision were truly outstanding. It's just a pity his life was too short. say his philosophy wasn't promoted enough. He founded a political party. He used this political party to replace a single family or clan. That was his philosophy. He combined the strengths of monarchy and democracy while avoiding the shortcomings of both. I have great respect and admiration for Dr. Sun. So his system was a one-party rule. This party is elected by the people, but what about the dictatorship? The continuity comes from the monarch. He used this approach, choosing the strengths and discarding the weaknesses from both ancient and modern, Chinese and foreign systems to govern the country. In the past, emperors came from a single family. It was one family running the whole country. Now, by establishing a political party, the idea was to bring together talented and wise people from all over the country to govern together. Using this method to replace a single family was a great idea. It's not a multi-party system. The idea was well thought but couldn't be done. Not many people have actually read about his philosophy. Why hasn't this philosophy been widely promoted? At the end of the day, it all comes down to one thing, only Mr. Sun. If everyone could wholeheartedly embrace the traditional Chinese spirit of education, and if his philosophy could be firmly established, it would truly be a blessing for the nation and its people. So when we look at issues, we need to look deeply, look far ahead, and have a sense of history. Chinese people value historical facts. Academic knowledge is one thing, but history, on the other hand, is about insight. Only then can you truly gain a more comprehensive and general understanding of the real, true nature of the universe and of life itself, and thus avoid making many unnecessary mistakes. Those who truly serve the people, the country, and all beings, in the end, simply just ordinary people. Buddhist scriptures can, without a doubt, be said to be the ultimate and most complete works of wisdom, able to understand less. Why can't people understand it? You must eliminate greed, anger, ignorance, arrogance, fatigue, illness, joy, and sorrow to understand a little. Which ordinary person doesn't have greed, anger, ignorance, arrogance? Confucianism teaches you to understand the principles and hopes you can overcome and suppress these things. It doesn't ask to cut them off. But the aim of Buddhism is to transcend the three realms, and to do that, you have to cut them off no other way. Confucianism doesn't address transcending the three realms. It only covers the human and heavenly realms, but even the heavens are still within the realm of desire, and not the realm of form. Desire stay, control them. Understand principle, don't add. The essence of Buddhism is to transcend the three realms, and to do that you must cut off attachments. As it is said, we understand that only by cutting off our afflictions can the innate prajna wisdom within our true nature manifest. If you don't end afflictions, wisdom won't appear. As the Buddha said, all sentient beings possess the wisdom and virtues of the Tathagata. All beings same as Buddha. So why is there such a big difference in appearance now? It's because our wisdom and virtues are obstructed, while the Buddha has no such obstacles. And what are these obstacles? Deluded thoughts, discrimination, and attachment. 3 obstacles. Although we have full wisdom, that wisdom is lost. It becomes affliction. I was in the state of nirvana, unborn and undying. Now nirvana has turned into the cycle of birth and death. Do you think it's unfair? He originally had perfect blessings and virtue, but now those blessings have turned into karmic. All these so many obstacles. Living such a bitter life. It's all because we simply can't seem to completely get rid of these persistent and stubborn obstacles, carefully removing them layer by layer, one after another. The words the Buddha teaches us are truth. He tells us to stop creating karma, to let go of greed, anger, and ignorance, and to diligently cultivate morality, concentration, and wisdom. This is a path to life, a bright road that leads us out of the 6 realms of rebirth and frees us from the sea of suffering. After reading about all these causes and effects, we need to understand what kind of cause leads to what kind of result. Heaven and earth bear witness. Those who go against their parents used to be punished by human laws, which is the immediate consequence. But the real retribution is in hell. There are numerous well-documented records of these phenomena found in ancient Chinese secret texts, which were often carefully preserved, as well as in the official historical accounts compiled by government historians. It's all true, not made up. People abandon parents, no retribution. But they are still young. Just wait a few more years and see if the consequences show up. What about the causes they made? There's no result without a cause. Now, this next line, when we read it these days, it really hits home. If you come across someone burning mountains or mistreating livestock, you should tell them they are being driven by madness. Not long ago, Singapore suffered from the effects of haze. I've heard that in Malaysia and Indonesia, people are setting fire to the mountains everywhere. You all need to understand that of all the bad deeds one can commit, burning mountains is among the most serious. Just think about it. How many forests are destroyed by a single wildfire? Countless lives are lost. So compared to hunting, it's on a whole different level, isn't it? No matter what methods we use for hunting, it can't compare to burning mountains. The number of living beings harmed is so much greater. Fit fire stretch of forest, lives lost. Tens of thousands or millions, none escape. This is true. Of all the sins committed, none is more serious than this. This is the great calamity that comes from killing living beings. It's absurd, but actually it's a matter of cause and effect. Retribution is certain, and the consequences will be suffered in the Avicii hell, enduring the punishments there. The Sutra says this goes on for countless kalpas. After countless kalpas, you'll still have to pay with your life for killing these sentient beings. It's not like you can kill, get away with it, or being punished in hell, it's over, would be far too easy for you. Oh money repay it, oh life repay life. Isn't this law of cause and effect terrifying? If you kill one sentient being, you'll have to pay with one life in the future. Kill two, pay 2 lives. How many have you killed? How many lives must you repay? Even attaining enlightenment won't free you. You can't say enlightenment means you're free from debts or life owed. Wouldn't that mean Buddha teachings destroy cause and effect? You know, after Shakyamuni Buddha attained enlightenment, he had 3 months to complete nirvana. Think, even becoming a Buddha can't exempt you from karma and retribution. You can see in the biographies of eminent monks that Shiga had to repay 2 life debts while he was in China. In a previous life, he accidentally harmed someone, and in this life, he was also accidentally harmed and killed by someone. That serves as proof for us. Karma and retribution never miss anything. He attained enlightenment, and those realized the fruit know. They come back, repaying life debts. Even when he was killed, he accepted it happily, and with that, everything was settled and the account was closed. So if today we are stolen from, robbed, or harmed by others, the Buddha says in the sutras, it's just repaying a debt. It's just that we lack wisdom and supernatural abilities, so we don't know what happened in the past. If you keep in mind that you're repaying a debt, you'll be happy about it, with not a trace of resentment, even if you cheated or taken advantage of. Just think of it as paying back what you owe. Once the account is settled, that's the end of it. To be honest, if I don't owe them, then they owe me. Isn't that all there is to it? If I owe someone, I'll gladly pay them back. If they owe me, I'll just let it go. If you insist on chasing debts into the next life, won't it just go on, never ending? So, if you owe others, pay them back. If others owe you, just let it be. Very similar. That's true wisdom. That's the smart way to handle things. So, not only should we remember this ourselves, we should often share it with others as well. When you take the life of a living being, you're bound to pay with your own life. If you set fire to a mountain, do you realize how many living creatures you've killed? All those tiny creatures underground, the ants, little animals, how many of them are there? In the future, you'll have to repay those lives, falling into the animal realm to pay back that debt, and you'll never be able to finish repaying it. The bad karma you create in just a few decades of this life can't be repaid even after countless eons. It's absolutely terrifying. If, in this lifetime, we truly wake up and gain real wisdom, our lives